Oven Brewery. I'm Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel, and we have some fantastic guests up here at the table with us now. First off, Jamarius Abuhanya, and second, Jalen Pinson. Now, guys, always a pleasure being able to spend a little time with you guys. I get to watch you every Friday night dominate on the football field. This week on a Thursday night, a little bit sooner. But any chance I get to hang and to ask a few questions is always something I enjoy, just kind of getting to hear from you guys from firsthand experience. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, Jameer Dean talked about it in the post-game show when we interviewed him, is first game 4A opponent. Coming into this year, moving up classifications. You'd heard and seen the news articles the last several years. Every time Alcoa got a state championship, there was all this buzz, all this talk, and maybe some negativity, if you will, about, Alcoa needs to move up. Alcoa needs to move up. Well, we move up, and then people started talking about, can Alcoa handle it? And you guys made a pretty big statement on Friday night. Was that something that was maybe a motivating factor for you coming into the game?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty motivating because Coach Nick said there's not a lot of things that you get to do first at Alcoa, and being able to come and be the first team to win a 4A game, it just feels special.
Yeah, a little bit of history there for yourself, knowing that you were the class that was able to do that, and the team that was able to get the thing rolling in 4A football. Jameer, I'll come to you for this question specifically, but for you, continuing to watch your maturation and development over the last few years, playing on both sides of the ball, getting some opportunities at DB, getting chances at wide receiver, feels like you're even more a focal point of the offense this year, making some big-time plays. What have you learned maybe from the players before you at those positions that you feel like has really kind of helped you with your game and your development?
Just seeing their work ethic, it motivates me to be as good as them or even better.
I love that. And Jalen, for you, one of the things I talked about even on the broadcast this Friday night was, I said, man, I'm so proud and excited for Jalen. I said, I think he's been really patient, waiting his opportunity and waiting his turn. And, you don't see it as much at the high school level. You definitely see it at college. When a player has to sit and wait, a lot of times they leave. And you sat and wait. You did the right things you were supposed to do. You learned from the ones before you. And you had a pretty special guy in front of you, and Eli Owens, a Michigan man that, obviously we're super excited for his opportunity. But for you to wait your turn and then have the season the way you had so far, I think you've had a fantastic start to your year. Just kind of talk about that for you, like what it was like kind of waiting your turn and being patient, and now what it feels like to really have that opportunity and be making the plays you are on the field.
I mean, it feels great to make the plays that I've made on the field, because I know the work I put in during the off season is going to pay off. Because Eli Owens, when he left, he was like, it's my time to shine. I follow in his footsteps, try to be like him or better than him.
When you came into this season knowing that, like, hey, it's go time for me, was there any additional motivation, or was it, hey, I know I've been putting in the work, I'm going to keep putting in the same work I've put in every single year, or was there any extra oomph coming into the senior season?
Nah, there was definitely a little extra oomph. Here in Maryville was the first game, because it's going to 6A opponent, our rivals, I had to put on for the city.
And speaking of Maryville, and then I'll turn it over to Scott. I don't want to hog the mic here, Scott, but guys, that game 2 in a row. How special was that? First win in Alcoa since 2009. So you made a big statement win at home, finally just protecting the house, if you will. And a lot of people, coming into that game said, okay, well, Alcoa lost this player and this player and this player. I think Maryville's got it this year. But you guys seemed pretty determined to get that win. What was it like during game week preparing for Maryville? And then how did it feel knowing you got the win at home?
We were working super hard the few weeks before, just getting used to how they play, and it's just excitement to see whenever we win, see the community all happy and hype. And I like how all the websites and stuff, they said that we were gonna lose. It was a low percentage chance of us winning, and we just beat the odds twice.
Yeah, and that's something you guys have done, a few times against Maryville now the last few years. Pretty special for your all's class. Now 2 wins in a row, and for Jalen, you 3 out of 4, right? 3 out of 4 against Maryville. I believe, the last few years. That's pretty special for your senior class to know that you had a winning record against the Maryville Rebels. Not a lot of teams can say that. So that's really cool. Scott, I'll turn it over to you and let you ask him a few questions.
Sure, and this is for either one of you, both of you, if you want to answer it as well. But you were talking earlier about the first going into 4A. You get first time playing in the 4A region, playing Gibbs last week, and a great game, by the way, even though you destroyed my alma mater. But we kind of expected to see that anyway. You're going to have a lot of other firsts coming up with, you've got South Doyle and Anderson County, people like that. Again, the distractors saying, oh, you got to move up from 3A to come to 4A and play some real teams. How determined are you to show everybody and quiet that chatter up?
We're really determined because we look at it, everybody say that if we went up to 4A, we lose every game. And it's just, we come into 4A playing all these different new teams thinking like, yeah, we're just going to have the same intensity, play harder, play faster, play stronger, play better than them, and just show them that we can compete at any level.
Guys, I want to turn to another player on your football team that I really think has taken a step, and it's been fun to watch him because now it's his opportunity, just kind of like yours, Jalen, is Thomas Manu. You know, I spoke with Cade Stennett, I believe, a few weeks ago about that here on the show, and one of the things Cade mentioned to me when him and Darius were up here is he said, I've seen a different level of Thomas Manu this offseason. You know, him coming over, you know, we had to have known there was some motivation. Number one, playing Maryville week 1, your old school, getting a little bit of revenge there, saying, hey, I should have been the guy at quarterback, but that's okay. I'm with Alcoa now, and I'm going to show you. But what have you seen from him this offseason? And has anything surprised you with how well he's played to start the year?
No, I don't think nothing really surprised me. I knew it was in him the whole time. Like, that's my dog. We played 7-on-7 together before he was even at Alcoa, and I just knew from the start that he was that guy. Like, it was a big step replacing Eli Graff, but I feel like he's doing a great job doing that.
Yeah, and I feel like over the summer watching him practice, like it was a switch flipped in him. Like he was like, I gotta show that it's my time to shine, and like I can beat Graff, I can be better than Graff, and like yeah.
Yeah, and you really almost have to have that mentality, right?
For sure.
What else you were going to say? Sorry,
I was
Dan.
going to say, there was a lot of people doubting him before the season even started, like in the scrimmages and stuff. Like when we played PAL, people were doubting him, and then we come out week 1 and he goes nuts.
Yeah, and watching him in the Maryville game, it was kind of one of those things, too, where you kind of saw him grow up before our eyes up in the booth, because early in the game, feeling some pressure, you could see him at times being a little hesitant to take off. And then all of a sudden, when he finally did, it was like some switch when he was finally like, I need to get out of my head and just play my game. And then all of a sudden when he started doing that, you saw the game switch for him, and you just saw him kind of take over the rest of the ball game. And I think that was something so critical and so important for him coming into this season, is you're taking the place of a guy that we knew was pretty special at the quarterback position last year, but it's your year, right? Just like for you taking over for Eli Owens at tight end, like, hey, what he did was great, but like, this is about me now, and this is about my team now, and what I could do for them. And so it was, you know, coming into the season, I think some of the questions, you know, from our perspective were, okay, we're excited for Manu. Is he going to be able to not let the distractions of last year or the players of old get in his way, or is he going to play his game? And I thought in the Maryville game, you really saw him figure that out, and he's been that way ever since. Second game of the year against Bearden, he was near perfect. Only one incompletion, I think, in that game. And we talked about how special he was in that performance. And then last game, he had a really good game as well. A couple touchdowns thrown. And I think there was one, if I remember correctly, Jalen, and I'm sure you probably remember better than I do, but there was one, I think he almost had you, and I was like, oh, he was so close to hitting Jalen for a touchdown. And we were talking about how almost every catch you've been making lately just goes for a touchdown. And so we were like, man, he almost had him for another one to add. But then Damari DeBose picks up his first rushing touchdown of the season now that he's moved to running back, and they're using him a lot more there. I thought that was pretty big for Damari. It seems like he adds maybe a little bit of a different gear from like a Micah Jones, who's got a little bit of speed, but has got some power to him. You've got Jermon Bishop, who's just a bowling ball, and he gets going to get out of his way. But then Damari DeBose has kind of got some of that lightning as well. What do you feel like he brings to the offense now that he's playing running back?
I feel like he brings like more speed, more vision, and like more shift to the running back room.
Yeah, and he's super fast. Like whenever he's not on defense and it's team defense and he's on scout offense and he's running the ball, that's the hardest person on the team to get down. I'll tell you that.
Hey, it might be a really good one to use on scout team when you're playing Anderson, getting ready for Anderson County because of what is it Jason Thompson? Is that right? The running back for them. But yeah, in my opinion, Scott and I said it before the season. We felt like 4A was going to come down to Anderson County and Alcoa, like the final game of the season. What better way to script it to end the regular season and who's going to take the region and on Halloween at Anderson County? You're going to a place that is known for being a pretty rowdy crowd who does a great job. I mean, their pregame shows I've heard are pretty electric. I'm excited to get down there, but I can't wait to. I always love when we go on the road and people doubt us to say, okay, well, I can't wait for you to watch the Tornadoes and see them go to work. And so it's been fun watching you guys this season and your development. I think this is a really special team. I think this team proved a lot in week 1, carried that over into week 2, and now has really established themselves in 4A football. Scott, do you have any other questions before we close?
Yeah, just a final question. You guys are now upperclassmen. As you know, the tradition of Alcoa, get some of the younger players in, get them some experience. What do you guys do to help them younger players so that they can be productive next year when they're finally the guys that are out there on the field?
Yeah, it's just like for the ages behind me, Shelton and Justin Lindsay. I just tell them to stay beside me, listen to the plays, and basically mirror what I do because I have to be perfect. They got to be perfect. So yeah.
Okay.
And me, I just tell the guys behind me, pay attention. Like, if they're on the sideline joking around, that's not getting them better. So I'm just making sure they're in line to get better and be great. I want them to be as good as me or even better.
Now, do you sit with them and instruct them during game film and stuff that you're watching?
Oh, yes, sir, I do.
Okay. I mean, the thing in Alcoa is the standard, right? And the only way to uphold it and keep it going is for each class as they get older to be able to continue to push that and show that to the class after them. And, so Jalen, you've had the chance to do that. And now, Jameer, you're an upperclassman now and a chance to really be that leader in your wide receiver group. And, man, what a great group of guys you have at the skills position. I told people last year when we won against Maryville and people were talking about how good this Alcoa team was, I was like, you think they're good now? I said, most of them are sophomores. I said, just wait till next year. And then getting the big win against Maryville and knowing that we've got a pretty heavy junior class, we're going to have to replace a few guys. We're going to miss our boy Jalen over here, but I'm excited to see, even next year what they do. But this year, what a chance. First 4A victory, then see if you can get your first 4A region championship, then get into the playoffs, start stacking dubs and see if we can get that 4A ring, right? End it on top, get to number 11 in a row, and as I've been calling it, because he's one of my favorite players of all time, it's our Kobe year. So time to get championship number 24 in Alcoa history as well. Last year was our Jordan year. This year is our Kobe year. So, guys, we appreciate your time. We're going to go ahead and let you guys get out of here. We're going to take a quick break. I think we kept you guys probably between 6 and 7 and try to go ahead and 6, 7, try to go ahead and get you guys out of here. So I appreciate you guys being here during that time frame. But we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to talk some more Alcoa football in a moment.
Go Tornadoes.
Good job.
Shout out 007.
stream. So many different ways for people to keep up with Alcoa football on a Friday night. And then after that, if you're not able to keep up whatsoever with any of the 3 streams, 2 Hype Sports being able to make sure we're doing social media updates throughout the night that will carry over anytime you check it to see how the Tornadoes are doing. There's a lot going on each and every Friday night for us and our crew. But man, they just do a fantastic job. But speaking of Friday night, Scott, before we fast forward to West on Thursday, and before we talk a little region, I just want to rewind it for a moment and kind of talk about how we got here. So, we started the season against our rivals in the Maryville Rebels, a big time.
And then you go into 4A and you take on a playoff-bound team from last year, Gibbs, who's got a really good shot at going back to the playoffs again this year, and you just make a statement there at Gibbs itself.
Yeah, Scott, I mean, the big win against Bearden, winning by 50 in Game 2, defeating 2 straight 6A opponents, and then moving on and moving down into your own classification and playing 4A football. The Gibbs community was extremely pumped about Alcoa coming to town, and you can't blame them. One of the best teams in the state coming to your town to play you in football. Your school was 2-0 to start the season, has a chance to make a major upset and a major win in your program history. But it just wasn't in the cards for the Eagles as the Tornadoes took care of business. One of the things I'm really impressed about early on in the season, just kind of looking at the season in totality, is the defense. Scott, this defense swarms to the football, and they're really good at stopping the run. You look at week 1, they held Maryville to 55 total yards on the ground, rushing the football. Bearden, -8 rushing yards. And then against Gibbs, had a lot of young players in that game. So the stats are a little skewed, but Gibbs got right at the 100-yard mark for the ball game, and a majority of that, I would say, came in the latter half of that game. But still, through the first 3 games of the season against 2 6A opponents, and then against Gibbs, you take a look at those numbers. I mean, you're talking 147 or so yards of rushing on the ground that you've allowed in 3 games. That says against 2 6A teams and then 1 team in 4A.
The fourth quarter were able to get their first ever points against Alcoa. But like you said, giving up 13 to Bearden, 21 to Maryville as well. And Maryville's such a strong team and be able to come out with that game. But coming up Friday, you mentioned it earlier, we've got West, the team that is 0-2 and that has really struggled this year to get anything going.
Yeah, we'll talk to Paige more about that on Friday night as she had the opportunity to cover West High School last season. But I'd imagine when we even speak with Paige, she's going to talk about just the difference between last year's team and this year's team. And a lot of that due to the changes made this offseason as their head coach was let go and just, I would say, caused a little bit of an exodus. And Maryville got a couple as well, and then I'm sure maybe some are sprinkled other places across East Tennessee. But it changed the team. You had a Bearden team last year we went toe-to-toe with and won on a walk-off field goal. The Bearden team this year we beat by 50. And then you look at this West game, 0-2 West coming into this game. And, Scott, not trying to give any bulletin board material whatsoever, but West's just not having a great year. And they're coming into and they're fixing to face a powerhouse in Alcoa, one of the best teams in the state, and I don't think it's going to go well for them.
No, Heath, I'm afraid it probably won't. I mean, they're going to do the best they can, but they remind me a lot of Bearden right now. And you saw their second game or second attempt at a game of the season, as the first one was considered a no contest after weather issues.
Yeah.
But they came to Maryville, were annihilated by the Rebels, and then took on a tough Central team out of Knoxville and lost that game. So they're hungry for a win. Just don't think it's going to be against Alcoa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything's always possible. But, yeah, we were kind of keeping a close eye early in the season on that Maryville game because to us and for our fans, that was kind of a barometer of where West stood this year and what they looked like. And once we saw that score, it kind of gave us an idea of potentially how this game could go. Now, obviously, again, not trying to add any bulletin board material for the West Rebels. They're traditionally a really good program, but just having a down year. year, and you have to almost look at it if you're them and you're their fan base as, hey, this is a year where we hope that we can find some things for the future and we can develop and we can get better. Just like Bearden. Bearden brought in a coach who used to coach them previously in Brad Turner, and one of the things he is known for is player development. And so seeing what he can do in the future for that football club and rooting for them and wishing them the best and doing the same for West, again, as they are traditionally a pretty good football team. I'm excited to get down there. Scott, for you and I, just maybe a little bit more as a personal thing I'm pumped about, but from what I've been told, we're not going to be in the stands this year, so we're going to get a spot in the booth. I'm excited about that. First time we've ever been in the booth at West High School, too, so don't have to bring a tent, even though kind of fun at times, too, to kind of have that fan experience and be amongst the fans of Tornado Nation. But it's going to be a fun night. It's on Thursday, so it is tomorrow night against West High School. That game will begin at 7 p.m. Pregame show on 94.3 Jack FM at 6:30. But, Scott, before we talk to Region Play 2, I just want to make sure I don't forget, but I want to give a shout out to Joe Cooper of Alcoa Law Firm, hooking us up with some meals to help fuel us throughout this broadcast. Very appreciative of that and his support of Tornado football. But Scott, before we close things out tonight, talk a little bit more about this new region that we're still getting accustomed to.
Yeah, Heath, coming into Region 2, 4A, sorry, not AA anymore. You've got some really tough teams. Of course, right now, Alcoa, Heritage, Knox, Carter, and Anderson County all sitting atop at 1-0. Gibbs at 1-1. They're one of the few teams other than Union County that's played 2 games so far. Union County at 0-2, and South Doyle and Fulton both looking for their first win.
Well, and you look at that region, Scott, and one of the things I told you is I kind of felt like Heritage and Gibbs would be the 2 teams in my prediction based on how the region looked that would be battling it out for 3rd and 4th place this season. I felt like the last game of the season was going to come down to the region champ between Alcoa and Anderson County. One of those would get 1. One of those would get 2, and then the rest would follow, and I kind of had a feeling it would be Gibbs and Heritage. I think this game Friday night for Heritage is going to be a real big for them test to see where they stand. Yeah, and for us to know a little bit more about Anderson County as well. We will play Heritage before them, and we haven't played either one, but Heritage Anderson County this week, such a big game in 4A in that region, and I have to imagine Coach Nix and them can't wait to get that game filmed to really start watching the tape of both teams.
That they will. A couple of other interesting games. You mentioned that Heritage will be hosting Anderson County, and also South Doyle will be home against Knox Carter. Another opportunity to kind of see a couple of teams in the region, just what both of these teams are going to look like as well.
Yeah, a lot of things going on in region play as it really starts to heat up over the next few weeks. Alcoa on a non-region game this week, but we'll get right back to it the following week. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if their school size just ended up growing a little bit and forced them up, but they moved up to 4A and couldn't escape Alcoa, and so they'll have to face them again. But luckily for us, they come to our home turf on Friday night. And the last time we played them at home was on a Monday. When we had to reschedule that game, and we saw freshman Justin Lindsay get his opportunity. Also heard through some sources here through Alcoa that he's back in town and he's back with the football team. He had transferred this offseason, is back now, and Kyron Tyson said he believes he'll be dressing out, and so we should hopefully see his name in the next few weeks, starting to get some touches and some opportunities. What a great young running back. His father played for Alcoa and was a really talented Tornado. Only a few years age difference between me and him, but man, I remember hearing his name all over the place when he played at Alcoa. Such a special player. But Scott, going to be a fun night tomorrow night. As we close this thing out, just for fun, I'll ask you your prediction of tomorrow night's ball game.
I'm going to keep it closer to the Bearden score. I'm going to say probably about 63-10.
63-10, okay. I like it. I think I'm going to give us 1 field goal, so I'm going to say 52-13.
We'll see.
We'll see. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night on the broadcast, 94.3 Jack FM, pregame show at 6:30, kickoff at 7, and then you can also watch the game on NFHS Network and on YouTube. Multiple ways to listen, and we'll make sure you stay covered. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Tornado Live. Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel. We'll see you tomorrow night.